A lot of changes happening in the admission of students into the United States. I have an update for you for the two big contingents that come into US every year, China and India, and the news is not very good for both countries. However, whoever is planning on still coming to study in the fall of 2025 should do their homework. Make sure you understand what you're getting into, because right now the mood is ugly and there are many questions and constraints being put on students. I agree with some of them in that students coming for studies from abroad should not indulge in politics. That, I think, is a very good thing. You are spending your hard-earned money and you should be only focusing on studies. But there are other things that are happening, particularly for students from China. What is the problem? We are seeing the headlines, and I'll also give you some context behind why things are happening that way. I have a slide deck that just covers the two big countries, China and India, and I would really appreciate it if you can like this video. Here we go. So in the academic year 2023-24, 278,000 Chinese students came to study in the United States. This is the number one in terms of how many students come to study in the United States. Then the next one was India with 268,000 students, and each one has its own set of challenges. For example, the Indian student, the 3 lakh odd students that come in every year, they face uncertainty as the United States is planning end of work visa for optional practical training. They don't want to offer this thing anymore, and that's why I'm saying that before you board that aircraft or before you start paying the fees for admissions and all that, first make sure that you know what you're getting into. If there is no optional practical training program in the United States after you finish your degree, then you're expected to leave, I think, within 30 days or something like that. And otherwise, you become illegal. Also, I'll give you an update on illegals also in just a moment in terms of for any illegal. I'll come to that also in just a moment. So my point I'm trying to emphasize is again and again is things are changing fast, things are moving fast. You might still be able to do your practical training. For example, last year, about 100,000 students did do their OPT, 1 in 3. So that also is a chance. Even today, only 1 in 3 are getting a chance to do optional practical training. The others are not getting it. And it could be that they are not applying, or they have applied and they have not heard from an employer. I don't know. These are all specific organizations who spend time in trying to mentor leaders of tomorrow or engineers of tomorrow, if you will. So this is the challenge as far as Indian students are concerned. There is also the requirement that you not indulge in any politics. Now, China has a bigger problem. What is the bigger problem? Well, China's Ministry of Education issued a study abroad warning on Wednesday following the passage of a higher education bill in the United States state of Ohio, which includes provisions seen as unfavorable to China and imposes restrictions on academic exchanges between Chinese and US universities. Ohio is not alone. There are some other states who are mulling similar legislation. And I'll tell you why. So there are two things I still need to tell you after this second paragraph. This is the bigger one in the sense that 6 Republican congressmen and women are moving a bill that could actually bar Chinese nationals from seeking education in the United States. Complete, done, 300,000 students. So I don't know what's going to happen to all those universities who are expecting this out-of-state income to basically run their universities. That's a bigger problem. And if the United States government says, okay, no problem, we will make up the deficit, then that means it is going to run its own deficit bigger. So it's not so easy. Whatever we are thinking about, it's not so easy. So what happens to these students, 278,000 students? Now, the first problem that the Chinese students have is that many say that the MSS, which is the Secret Service of China, will essentially hold their parents hostage or their relatives hostage back home if they don't do specific things in the universities they are studying. In other words, they say, and that they will not come on camera and admit this, they say that they are being coerced to do some things against their will. This is the main reason, I believe, why the Republican congresswomen are saying that no more Chinese students to come into the United States for studies. Now, the other challenge is essentially any student that comes in, they need to keep an eye open to understand that sometimes you could get stuck in a protest where they take video footage of that, and then they might misidentify you as somebody who's participating in the protest. I mean, you could be walking on the quad in a campus and suddenly a protest emerges and you get stuck in it, or or you could be having lunch and suddenly, you understand what I'm saying. You could get into a crowd knowingly or unknowingly, and then you could get penalized for it. So these are all things to keep in mind. Also, the other thing is that those of you who want to have practical training, and I think you should have practical training in the country in which you are learning, you should consider other universities such as Canada and Europe. Of course, each of these have their own set of challenges. So I can't say one is better than the other. Each one has a specific need, and some may find it in Canada, some may find it in Europe, and some may find it in the United States. A lot of questions to ponder over. I think parents need to start doing some more work. Talk to your relatives in various places. Look up all the information that you can find for the college campus that your child is planning to go to. Find out how the situation is. Are these red states? Are these blue states? Red states are comparatively a little bit more stricter with the enforcement of rules and regulations. That means that your child has a little bit better, it's like blinkers on to go get your studies done, get your education done. Certainly, I think the days of staying on here as a student and then seeking work in the United States, those things are coming rapidly to an end. I'm sorry to say this is like a follow-up of what I had done. About 20,000 legal residents in United States have so far returned back to India in the last 2 years, and now I'm hearing that this trickle is going to turn into a flood because they're expecting a recession. This was going to happen regardless of this tariff war, but this tariff war is only going to push this thing over the edge. So this is the other challenge that students will have. And I feel bad for the student. They have come here to actually acquire knowledge. And if you do your undergrad in India, you do need a graduate degree in the United States to kind of bring you up to speed on technology. There is a small technical barrier, technology barrier that you need to jump. And graduate school education in United States will help you cross that barrier better, and then you could be probably in a better position to seek employment, not just in India, perhaps any other country in the world. There are countries that need good qualified personnel. So don't think that you have to go back to India. You might be able to find employment elsewhere. It depends upon what skills that you have, what kind of degree you are going to get, and if that fulfills a need. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. For additional information, take a look at the reference links provided. Namaskar.